going on, y'all? It's Jay Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys can see by the title, a Bookham video, a little quieter on the battle rap front this week, just in terms of events. You have War Ready this weekend with JC and Reed, but outside of that, it's a pretty regular card. And then Bullpen really owns the back half of October with those two events, which I will be predicting and breaking down. Just gotta wait until it's a little bit closer to the event. And recently, as per usual, there's always a little bit of drama talk, right? You get the Shine interview with My Expert Opinion, talk about getting paid not to battle in leagues. You got Hollow saying he never got paid, you know what I'm saying, when he's got the screenshot out there with the 26K, which he denied back then too. And there's all this talk of people being paid not to battle, so I figured let's talk about some battles that we want people to get paid for, particularly with Hollow. There's been all this talk, but I thought now would be a pretty cool time to do a Bookham series for his top 5 next best opponents. I know that people aren't very happy with him right now, but at the end of the day, I look at all this getting paid not to battle. Let's think about who we might get paid to battle. There's still matchups out there that work for him, not as super high profile, crazy headliners I think it used to be, but he still has a lot of good work out there that I want to see him get to. So without further ado, let's start with number 5. And at number 5, for those who haven't seen this series, the way the list builds, at the bottom we start with like the least likely opponent and we work up to number 1 being the opponent I think Hollow should battle next. So at number 5, we do have Shotgun Suge versus Hollow Dodon, and Shotgun Suge as a matchup for Hollow. A battle that I think kind of just missed its mark recently with the fact that Suge last year on Top of the World, it made sense to book a Suge easy, a Suge Hollow matchup, so that variety. I mean, you got Suge Verb, not the same this year. Outside of his Kid Slade win, which I thought was a pretty good battle, to be honest with you, both ways. But I did have him winning that battle. You go from the Kid Slade win, the Shuni battle does not go his way. That's a bad loss. The Sheed battle just happens to not really be good footage, you know what I'm saying? So it's an battle. And then what is the most recent one? Fonz on Summer Madness. We obviously saw how that went. Not a great result for Shotgun Suge. So I think his stock is down a little bit right now. Might be Suge taking a little bit of a break. I haven't heard him in too many other matchups. So he called out Ace Amin after the Fonz battle. So who knows? There's always going to be use for Suge to get booked. But in terms of booking Suge and Hollow right now, you even saw a little bit of in the 2-on-2, right? And they said, no, this is a preview. It's not a preview, man. It didn't get us any more hyped. If anything, it took away some of the hype. And all in all, it just doesn't look like it'll make that much sense right now, which is why I have Suge versus Hollow at 5. At number 4, someone else who stock-wise isn't doing the best right now, but has also been very vocal about battling Hollow very soon, is JC. JC versus Hollow. That's what JC said following the No Entourage event versus Rock, I believe is the first time he called out Hollow. And then when he battled Caswell, which is, it's not going to generate too much noise, but you got to keep the call out going. And then JC just battled Low Pesci on Blackout 8, right? So he gets the win there. Another battle that, not like Caswell, where it's someone that's completely pretty much unknown from the public in that regard. But another easy win, and then he calls out Hollow again. So Hollow and JC looks like a plate that JC wants to get to. Like I said, as from the wins that you just heard, and we all know where JC's been post-hustle and surf losses, his stock just isn't there right now to get a big plate. Now, they booked JC's a legend in his own right? So if this battle popped out, I don't think people would be, oh, JC doesn't deserve, that word doesn't come up when we talk about legends in a sense, right? But in terms of this moment right now, JC isn't really built up for a big plate, let alone maybe like a God tier level plate. And if the buzz isn't there in general, you could book this. But with Hollow, kind of, you know what I'm saying, he's facing like a little bit of adversity right now, on top of the fact where JC is stock-wise. Same thing with the Suge battle. Another battle I really don't see getting booked, but if they do battle at some point in time, I'm not going to be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? The little, both bit of slow walking with the style, so either that can match up in the battle, or that can make the battle really drag on. A few different things, but still a matchup that's out there in the air for Hollow Dodon. And then from there, we can get to number 3, and as we get to the top 3, this is how it always is. 4 and 5 are like cool matchups. 3 and up are great matchups, in my opinion. And at number 3, I do have Hollow versus Chef Trez. Just good. I know that the freestyling aspect is going to be what's put, right? The rebuttal factor. But really, Trez is having the best year of his career, the best he's ever been all the way around from pure rapping ability. He's had the ability to do it on stage, in a small room, little bit of prep, longer margins of prep. He's just been going off. He's also threw a couple shots at Hollow. I think this one will be the most interesting because people are just really happy to see what Chef's doing right now. His style is fresh. And when someone's this good recently, especially if he's able to beat Clips clear, which with the way Clips have been battling, it looks like it's very possible. Now you have this whole year built up with John win, great debatable with Twerk, you know what I'm saying? Little stuff around like Clone and Jackboy, then a big win on Clips. The battle starts to make itself make sense, and people are loving what Trez is doing, which is why I'd like Hollow versus Chef Trez. And that's really in a reward him type of way, right? Like, we want to reward Trez for doing great, so you give him a battle he's been asking for. And then from there, you get into the top two. At number 2, still a matchup that I have up there, although because of a little bit of noise out there between Hollow and ARP, it looks like it'll be less and less likely. But that is Hollow versus A-Ward. Now, realistically, this could go down on a few different platforms, right? A-Ward is by no means just an RB talent. He battles everywhere. Don't know if he'll be going to URL, right? That looks unlikely. It's been unlikely for a while. So I don't know if you get it on either of pretty much the 2 most major leagues in battle rap, right? So that does leave, you know, Riot, King of the Dot, GTA. Maybe there's some way that they figure it out, right? But even with how, you know, maybe unrealistic it looks with recent events of it getting booked immediately, I still think it's a great battle. A-Ward, who I did say could probably take a little bit of break from battling top tier comp, just in terms of the way he's been doing it back to back to back. Even though, interestingly enough, he's actually had a pretty less busy year compared to his other years, but as opposed to all the side mission type smaller league plates, it's been mostly top tier ops and in a quick succession, right? But with all that being said, it's still a fire battle. We still know what A-Ward's very capable of. You give these guys a month plus prep, some time to breathe, and it ends up being a great matchup. I think what they do stylistically matches up. I wouldn't say either of them outside of, obviously, when it comes to freestyling with Ward. I'd say maybe angling with Hollow, but outside of that, I don't think either of them are 10 out of 10 in other aspects, but they're 8 out of 10 across the board. You get 2 guys that can do everything a little bit, which is the big thing about Hollow, right? Swiss Army knife. He can do every type of style for the most part. Ward meets up to that in a modern sense, and he's still growing as an artist. It's been talked about a little bit before, a little bit of noise behind it, just a matchup that would make sense specifically on RBE. But even if it doesn't go down that way, looking like that's what would have most likely happened. But if that's not what's going down, it's still a great battle with one of the better battle rappers in the world active in A-Ward versus Hollow, who seems to be just getting his work in. If you're getting your work in, why not take A-Ward? And that leaves us with the number 1 matchup. The matchup that I think that I know Hollow should really take next. And this is one that I feel like has made sense for Hollow for a while, and that is Hollow versus Av. I don't know how many more times we got to ask. I don't know how many more polls got to say 80 to 20%. And I know that doesn't determine everything, but then why ask fans as battlers or as the league? We know how many different events it looked like it could be happening for. The SMs, now we're talking volume again. You know what I'm saying? There's noise for Homecoming. There's all this talk. We want Hollow and Av, man. Out of all those god tier next level plates that Av has talked to, Hollow has shown the most interest. There's been the most back and forth. There's a bit of a style clash there that makes more sense than the others. Not that Av and I think Cal is a bad matchup. Obviously, Av and Twerk is fire, although that's not in the same trajectory of booking, right? Although that's still a big battle in its own right. But Hollow does so many things that you would traditionally think would take down Av style, the all-around angle-heavy guy versus the puncher. He'll probably call him monotonous and say he only punches, get into things about his stock. And then you have Av talking back to him and how Av's been with god tiers that have fallen off. Just him, it sounds crazy to say proving himself considering how good Av is, but just really adding some more of these big-time plates to his catalog. He had Clips, but we all kind of know how that battle was. You know what I'm saying? Rock, look how great of a battle that was as the SM main event. You put this in a volume, especially with Hollow, looking like he's going the small room route, which is smart. He's just been better in a small room than on a stage lately. It just is what it is. I think it makes sense. You get a dialogue. They've already promoted and talked a little bit of shit. I don't really see, these are all good matchups. Ward, Chef, and then even JC and Suge. But at the end of the day, people have talked about Hollow and Av long enough. That is the next battle that Hollow should be booking. And that is my 5 here for the Book'em for Hollow. A little bit shorter, you know what I'm saying, than some of the other videos. But even though he doesn't have one besides Av that's like jumping out. Even Av, I don't think that would be booked as a main event. It could be, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be mad at Av and Hollow as like a volume main event. But even if it isn't the pop off the page, biggest battle and battle rap coming up, this is all good work. This is all, at the very least, good card filler on big cards. We're not talking about Hollow going on no smaller cards, even if we don't have a main eventing. And some of them help. With the JC and Suge matchup, it's really just top tier. People battling really for the sense of it. Although I think that Hollow and or I think Suge and JC would be motivated because it is kind of one of the last big plates that they could even get on their resume. But as for Chef and Ward, you get two of like the newer age stars that have really earned their way into it. Stylistically, it makes sense. And then when it comes to Hollow and Av, that's the one people have talked about. I said it before, I'll say it again. That is the battle people want from Hollow next. And I know his stock isn't like crazy right now, but he's been active. Talked a little bit of shit to Av again following his New Jersey Twerk performance. Who knows? Maybe it'll fall through again because it just seems like that's how it is, even when they talk directly to Av. Maybe the actions don't follow the words, but with how active Hollow's been, doesn't look like he's ducking any smoke. Man is qualified for Champion of the Year this year. I think it's the first time he's ever been in a year qualified, and that's the year when they moved it up to 4 battles. You get an Av battle as your 5th to end the year. I just think it makes sense. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, who would you like to see Hollow against next, either before the end of the year, or even at the start of next year? Just who do you think would be that next best opponent? Let me know in the comments down below. But it's been Jay Smo Reviews again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. Peace.